Yes, a lot of cooking,
A
actually.
lot of
So
cooking.
if you're cooking a romantic dinner for two, you know, Valentine's Day just days away, forget all the muss and fuss, opt for a one-pot recipe.
Here to show us
Absolutely.
how to make it. Cindy Barbary, cindy'stable.com. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted everybody to know where they can find you, though.
Yes, at cindy'stable.com. And I just want to start by saying I know Bob would approve with this dish.
Good.
And this is
Bob Harper
Bob
from
Harper
The Biggest
perfect.
Loser.
Exactly. Well, this is great for Valentine's Day. It's a one-pot dish. It's hot healthy. It's hot healthy month. So this is a great dish, so I want to get going with it. And it's all in one pot, which I love. And what I love doing is taking the pot to the table. So we're not making a big mess.
That's cool.
You know, let's work on the candles, the rose petals, making the night nice and romantic. So a nice, easy dish, but it's going to be amazing.
Right, put your energy into the ambiance.
Exactly, exactly.
Je ne sais quoi.
So what I'm going to start with is my chicken cutlets, and everything here is from ShopRite in East Hartford. They gave us all this food for this lovely dish.
Cool.
So what we want to do, you always want to season your chicken first. So we're going to start by seasoning the chicken with salt and pepper. I have salt and pepper in my little salt pig here, so if you want to start doing that for me, Ashley.
In your salt pig.
My salt pig, yes. And I'm just going to add some olive oil in my pan and some butter, because as I told you before, that really helps it crisp up that chicken. And because we're keeping it hot healthy, we're not going to dip it in any flour or breadcrumbs. We're just going to sear the chicken.
Did I put
Nice
too
and
much?
simple.
Sorry,
That's fine.
Okay.
Cindy, if you're on a low sodium diet, don't eat the first piece.
We'll just
It's
we'll make it work.
action-packed with
So all
salt.
I'm going to do is add the chicken into the pan, and you want it fairly hot because you want to hear that sizzle. Because you want to really sear both sides of the chicken.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's the noise that you want to hear. So we're just going to add the chicken in the pan. It's going to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes each side. Now see how nice and thin it is? It's going
Yeah.
to cook really fast. So not only is this a great one-pot dish, but it can be made in 30 minutes.
I like that.
So you can come home
30
from work
minutes,
and have this great dish. So we're just going to cook both sides.
And as a general rule for a one-pot dish, we want to do meat on the bottom, so that takes the longest, right?
Exactly. So you want to get the meat cooking. Everything else, I mean, the artichokes out of the can, so they just really need to be warmed up. And last, we'll add the kale in. So we're just going to let it saute for about 2 minutes each side. Now we can start adding in the other ingredients. So let's do the onions next.
Okay.
We'll get the onions right in there. I already sliced them nice and thin. One good-sized yellow onion about the size that's on the counter there.
Right there? Okay.
Yeah, that's about that size. And then we have that's about 2 cloves of garlic. You can really add as much as you like. If it's Valentine's Day, you might not want to add too much garlic.
Unless, in my experience, I've noticed if both parties eat the same amount of garlic,
True.
no harm, no foul.
True.
It
So
makes Valentine's Day just a little bit more
Exactly.
something.
So we're just
Smelly.
I'm gonna flip the chicken over.
Oh, it smells
Doesn't that
amazing.
smell so nice? So now we can add in the carrots, Ashley.
Carrots. Okay.
Now, all I did was just peel the skin and slice them into little rounds, 1 or 2 carrots.
We learned yesterday on the show how to make heart-shaped carrots.
Oh,
so you can check
nice.
that out at mymasterfeel.com. It's very cool.
And then we can add in the artichokes.
Okay, and like you said, you just drain them.
I just drained them, and these are quartered artichokes. You can find them in the grocery store. If you have whole ones, you can just slice them up, but they really add so much flavor to this dish. I'm going to taste it in a little bit to see if it needs more seasoning, but for right now, we're not going to worry about that. So we're going to let that saute for a little while. Then we're going to add in, you can use chicken or vegetable broth.
Okay.
So we can just pour that right in, Ashley, if you'd like.
Oh, this
Yep.
is chicken broth? Okay.
This is chicken broth, or you can use vegetable broth, about 1.5 cups, because it's going to go down and reduce a little bit.
Okay.
And this is a great olive oil or extra butter alternative too, because oftentimes when the pan dries out, people put olive oil or butter in there. You can do that, save yourself some fat.
Exactly, exactly.
That's what I do. When it starts to dry out, I put more olive oil. I have to remember chicken broth.
I do
the
too,
broth.
and that's why I've got this going on right here.
So now we can bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, or we can put the cover on it and let it sit on the stove, and then we're going to add the kale in a little bit. So we'll let it simmer for just a minute.
Well, that's a great natural place to take a little pause. So we are going to finish this recipe up a little bit later in the show with you, Cindy.
Sounds
Thank you.
great.
Thanks, Cindy. We're back with Cindy Barbary from cindy'stable.com. We're finishing up our one-pot baked chicken dinner for Valentine's Day.
Yes, so we could put this in the oven for about 12 minutes at 350, but I just cooked on the stovetop, so either way works great. You know, we sauteed the chicken, we added in the onions and carrots and artichokes. Last, I added the kale, and then we have the chicken broth in there. Now, I know you're looking like, what's this on my dish here? What I did
Good.
was you could serve this with butternut squash ravioli. The butternut squash goes so great with this dish. And if you don't want to do a pasta, just roast up some butternut squash. So you could really add anything to make this dish
And
even more special.
The butternut squash is such a comfort food, such a, you know, the winter time kind of thing.
It is, and it goes really great. So all I'm going to do is I can just put this right on my platter, or I could add the raviolis into this pot and bring this pot to the table.
But we
So
want to make it look pretty for
we want to make
TV,
it look
so-
pretty, exactly. So we're just going to add this on here. Doesn't look great. Now there's some capers right beside you. You can just sprinkle on those capers, about 2 tablespoons, as much as you like. I love capers in any dish that I make, so I'm always adding them on there. They just add
Yeah,
so
they're
much.
just like a salty pop, right?
They really are, and they just add flavor, and they look pretty, and they go great with the artichokes and the garlic and all the great things we have in here. Doesn't that look great? So Seth, if you want to make yourself a plate, go right
Yes,
ahead.
okay.
And
Done.
I don't have to ask you twice.
Oh, but it looks so pretty. You know what? Can you hand me one of these from over there?
Of course, of course.
Because this is the just
So
the
pretty,
fantastic
right?
shot right
so
here.
we'll just make you a little dish right here. How's
So
that?
So
Seth?
romantic.
If I have to. I'm feeling the romance right now.
This is a very romantic dinner, and it's so easy to make. Again, it took us under 30 minutes to make this dish. So before you go to work in the morning, you can cut up the kale, cut up your carrots and your onions, have everything ready, season your chicken. So when you get home from work, you can just put this dish together, because we don't want to be stressed on Valentine's Day. We want to
No.
have a nice evening with the one that we love.
That's right. And I like that it's in one pot. It's done. It smells great. It's healthy. It's good for you. It's heart healthy.
It is.
And I can't wait to try this. And you just added the butternut squash ravioli, but you can add anything.
You can add anything. I love the taste with butternut squash with this. So you can add some roasted butternut squash, some sweet potatoes, make some baked sweet potatoes, make that with it. So you can really add anything that you want, or you can just eat the
just eat
chicken
that.
recipe the way it is. But you can add anything you'd like to it, but it's a great dish. It's easy to make, and I think it's a romantic dish to eat together.
I would say so. Cindy, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
having you here. If you want a copy of this recipe and so many more recipes, just visit us online at mymassappeal.com.